Hello there, everybody. We are ready for another week of 1986 Strat-O-Matic baseball replay. We're heading into week 9 of the season, which is from June 2nd through June 8th. As always, at the beginning of the week, our American League division leaders are the Baltimore Orioles in the East at 27-20. They are currently a game and a half in first place. In the Central, we got the Kansas City Royals at 26-23. They are 2 games up. In the West, we got the Texas Rangers at 33-16, and they are 2.5 games up. Heading over to the National League, we got in the East, the New York Mets are 31-16. They are 3.5 games in the lead. In the Central, we got the Cincinnati Reds at 25-22. They are also 3.5 games up. Out West, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers at 31-19, and they are a game and a half up. So let's see at the end of this week to see if these guys are still in first, or if second place teams or even third place teams have gained any ground. So these are your major league leaders and divisions as of the beginning of week 9, June 2nd. So for some trades and transactions, I do have here a list of players that actually did have some actual transactions during this week in the real 1986, along with some trades that I have done to kind of keep the teams competitive. So I'll go through a couple of them here. Okay. And as for real life in 1986, Dan Dressen was signed by the Houston Astros, and Aurelio Lopez was signed by the Astros. Cesar Cedeno was released by the Dodgers. Vern Rule, he was signed by the Angels. And on the 8th, Bob McClure was traded from the Milwaukee Brewers to the Montreal Expos. And outside of that, all these other things in between, mostly on the 5th, outside of Cesar Cedeno, were fictitious trades that I did between teams. So we got Gary Roenick. He was traded from the Yankees to San Francisco. Henry Cotto, same thing, from the Yankees to the Giants. Rookie Bob Tewksbury was traded from the Yankees to the San Diego Padres. I'm not going to go through everybody here, but as you can see, so these were some transactions that I made up in my fantasy world just to kind of have a competitive balance between the teams. So this was the transactions that happened during this week, and they go in effect as of those a day or two after the date listed. So there were some trades and transactions. Now let's head on to this week in baseball. So we got Monday, June 2nd. We got the Pittsburgh Pirates at the Atlanta Braves. The Pirates' third 3-run first was enough to carry them in their win, 4-1. Cleveland Indians at the Boston Red Sox. Boston's pitching staff holds Cleveland to 1 run in their win, 2-1. Then we got the Yankees at the Angels. We got California center fielder Devon White steals the victory with 4 stolen bases. Angels win 7-3. Rangers at White Sox. Chicago White Sox beats up Texas starting pitcher Tim Conroy in his debut, for the win. White Sox over Rangers 9-4. Chicago Cubs at the Cincinnati Reds, a battle of first and second. Chicago Cubs second baseman Ryan Sandberg goes 4 for 5 in a return from the DL to help the Cubs over the Reds 7-2. St. Louis Cardinals at the Houston Astros. Cardinals 2-run ninth seals the deal in their win 4-1. Kansas City Royals at the Milwaukee Brewers. Kansas City scores 3 in the first, but it is enough to hold over the charging Brewers 4-2. San Diego Padres at the New York Mets. New York Mets starting pitcher Bob Ojeda 3 hits the Padres in their win 8-0. Detroit Tigers at the Oakland Athletics. Back-to-back home runs by the Tigers late deflate the A's 6-3. Los Angeles Dodgers at the Philadelphia Phillies. LA hangs 7 runs on the Phils starting pitcher Don Carmen in their win 8-2. Minnesota Twins and the Toronto Blue Jays. Minnesota overcomes 3 runs for the win 6-5. Tuesday, June 3rd. We got the Pirates at the Braves. Atlanta's first baseman Ted Simmons the walk-off single in extras helps the Braves over the Pirates 3-2 and 10. Mariners at the Orioles. Seattle's pitching staff implodes in the beating by the Orioles 21-3. With that score there, the Baltimore Orioles scored the most runs up to this point for the season. Highest total scored of 21 runs. Indians at the Red Sox. Cleveland starting pitcher Tom Candiotti fails at becoming the first 10-game winner. Red Sox over the Indians 5-1. Yankees at the Angels. New York starting pitcher Dennis Rasmussen throws a shutout 4-0. Rangers at the White Sox. Chicago White Sox starting pitcher Joe Cowley stops Texas in a shutout 4-0. Cubs and Reds. Cincinnati's 3-run sixth helps them in their victory 5-4. Cardinals at the Astros. St. Louis's third baseman Tom Lawless gets 3 RBIs in the win 9-5. Royals at the Brewers. Milwaukee's DH Larry Sheets collects 3 hits and 3 RBIs in the win 7-3. Giants at the Expos. Expos second baseman Vance Law has a walk-off single in the 11th 2-1. Padres at the Mets. New York Mets starting pitcher Sid Fernandez shuts down the Padres in a nail-biter 1-0. Tigers at the A's. Oakland starting pitcher Kurt Young shutouts the Tigers 11-0. Dodgers at the Phillies. Los Angeles left fielder Franklin Stubbs' 2-run homer in the 8th sinks the Phils 5-2. Twins at Blue Jays. Minnesota shortstop Greg Gagney's error with the bases loaded in the 13th ends the game. Blue Jays over the Twins 4-3 in 13. Wednesday, June 4th. Pirates at the Braves. Pittsburgh scores 5 runs late for the victory, 5-1. Mariners at Orioles. Seattle's starting pitcher Mark Langston quiets the Baltimore Bats 4-2. Indians at the Red Sox. Boston shortstop Ray Quinones error sinks to Boston in extras. Indians win 4-3 in 10. Yankees at Angels. Angels DH Reggie Jackson goes 3 for 4 with 1 homer and 2 RBIs in the win 7-5. Texas at Chicago. Rangers starting pitcher Charlie Huff 3 hits the White Sox 5-2. Cubs at Reds. Cincinnati's DH Eric Davis walks it off in the 9th with a solo blast 6-5. Cardinals at Astros. Houston starting pitcher Mark Knudsen shuts down St. Louis through 7 in their victory 2-1. Royals at Brewers. Milwaukee starting pitcher Ted Higuera holds the Royals to 1 run in the victory. Brewers over Royals 2-1. Giants at the Expos. Expos DH Mitch Webster has a walk-off single in the 9th for the win 6-5. Padres at Mets. Mets right fielder Darryl Strawberry's grand slam slams the Padres in the 8th 8-4. Tigers at A's. Oakland's 3-run first is enough to secure the win 6-2. Dodgers at the Phillies. Phillies left fielder Von Hayes goes 3 for 5 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, which helps pummel the Dodgers 10-5. Twins at Blue Jays. Toronto center fielder Lloyd Mosby hits a walk-off home run in the 9th. Blue Jays over the Twins 6-5. Thursday, June 5th. Mariners at Orioles. Baltimore shortstop Cal Ripken Jr. goes 3 for 4 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs in the win 5-3. A's at the White Sox. Oakland starting pitcher Vida Blue implodes in the 7th, giving up 4 runs, causing the A's to lose 6-1. Twins at the Royals. Battle of first and second. Kansas City's first baseman Steve Balboni hits a walk-off home run in the 9th, 2-1. And also a battle for first place between first and second. The Astros at the Dodgers. LA starting pitcher Rick Honeycutt limits Houston to only 1 run in the win, 3-1. Red Sox at the Brewers. Boston's right fielder Dwight Evans goes 3 for 4 at 1 home run and 5 RBIs in their win 10-4. Phillies at the Expos. Montreal starting pitcher Bob Sebra gives up 1 run in a complete game victory, 5-1. Mets at the Pirates. Pittsburgh's left fielder Bill Almond has a 2-run walk-off home run in the 9th. Pirates win 4-2. Braves at the Padres. San Diego collapsed in the 8th, giving up 6 runs in the loss, 13-9. And the final game on the 5th, we got the Cubs at the Cardinals. Chicago starting pitcher Dennis Eckersley shuts down the Cards 2-0. Heading into the weekend, we got Friday, June 6th. We got the A's at the White Sox. Oakland starting pitcher Moose Haas, 3 hits the White Sox in a shutout win, 4-0. Angels at the Indians. Angels starting pitcher Ron Romanek, 4 hits Cleveland in a shutout win, 3-0. Blue Jays at the Tigers. Detroit's third baseman Darnell Coles goes 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in the win, 12-6. Twins and Royals. Royals starting pitcher Danny Jackson limits the Twins to 1 run in the win, 4-1. Astros at the Dodgers. Astros 9th inning rally falls short. Dodgers win 3-2. Red Sox at the Brewers. Brewers rally falls short in the 8th in their loss, 5-3. Phillies at the Expos. Phillies scores 6 runs late to propel them into victory, 7-4. And in the battle of first and second, we got the Baltimore Orioles at the New York Yankees. Baltimore's shortstop Cal Ripken Jr. yet again 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs in their win, 3-2. Mets at the Pirates. Mets starting pitcher Ron Darling gives up 1 run in the win, 4-1. Atlanta at the Padres. Atlanta's catcher Ted Simmons goes 4 for 4 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs in the win, 7-2. The Reds at the Giants. Giants bats crush Cincinnati starting pitcher Mario Soto with 11 runs. Giants in a 3 beating, 11-4. Cubs at the Cardinals. Chicago's first baseman Leon Durham's 3-run homer late secures the victory, 6-3. Mariners at Rangers. Rangers used the long ball to beat the M's, 4-1. Saturday, June 7th. Athletics starting pitcher Dave Stewart gives up 1 run in the win, 7-1. Angels at the Indians. The Angels smashed the Indians, 11-5. Blue Jays at the Tigers. Back-to-back home runs late by Lou Whitaker and Kirk Gibson sinks the Blue Jays 4-2. Twins at the Royals. Minnesota center fielder Kirby Puckett returns and helps by handing Kansas City 7 runs on their starting pitcher Mark Gubiza. Twins win 7-3. Astros at Dodgers. LA Blues for Houston yet again. Dodgers win 6-1. Red Sox at the Brewers. Boston holds off another late rally by the Brewers, 5-3. Phillies and the Expos. Philly sinks the Expos with 5 runs in the 7th. Orioles at the Yankees. New York Yankees left fielder Ken Griffey has a walk-off single in the 10th. Yankees over the Orioles, 3-2. Mets at the Pirates. New York Mets center fielder Lenny Dykstra's 2-run homer in the 9th sinks the Pirates, 4-2. Braves at the Padres. Braves shortstop Andre Thomas, RBI single in the 10th, secures the win for the Braves, 6-5. Reds at the Giants. Reds rally short. Reds rally falls short in the late and lost to Giants 5-4. Cubs and Cards. Cubs blast the Cards with 4 home runs in the victory, 6-1. And in a doubleheader, in Game 1, Mariners at Rangers. So in Game 1, Texas center fielder Oddibe McDowell goes 5 for 5 and hits for the cycle in the mauling of the M's, 10-4. And in the nightcap, Game 2, between the Seattle Mariners and the Texas Rangers. Mariners rally, falls short in the ninth of doubleheader in loss. Rangers take game 2, 3-2. And in the final set of games for this week, Sunday, June 8th, we have the A's at the White Sox. White Sox starting pitcher Joe Cowley holds A's to 1 run in the win, 2-1. Angels at the Indians. Angels DH Reggie Jackson's double in the ninth puts the Angels ahead in the win, 3-2. Blue Jays at the Tigers. Blue Jays shortstop Tony Fernandez's 3-run home run in the ninth sinks the Tigers 6-3. Twins at the Royals. Twins batter Kansas City starting pitcher Brett Saberhagen for split series win, 7-1. Astros at the Dodgers. Astros hang 6 runs on Los Angeles starting pitcher Bob Welch for the win, 6-3. Red Sox at the Brewers. Brewers 4-run first carries them to victory, 5-4. Phillies at the Expos. Phillies first baseman Von Hayes goes 3 for 5 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. Phillies over the Expos, 7-2. Orioles at the Yankees. Baltimore starting pitcher Mike Boddicker limits the Yanks to 1 run in the win, 6-1. Mets at Pirates. New York Mets starting pitcher Sid Fernandez only allows 1 run in his complete game victory, 12-1. Braves at Padres. Braves' 9th inning rally falls 1 run short in loss, 11-10. And in another doubleheader, we got the Reds at the Giants. Game 1, Cincinnati Reds starting pitcher Bill Gillickson shuts down the Giants 3-0 in Game 1 of the doubleheader. And in the nightcap, the Reds at the Giants. San Francisco's 7-run fourth claims the split bill of the doubleheader, 9-3. Cubs at Cardinals. Cubs 5-run sixth, enough to hold off the Cards for the win, 8-5. And the final game of the week, the Mariners at the Rangers. Starting pitcher for the Mariners, Mark Langston, K's 10 in complete game victory, 8-2. So, Week 9 summary. And we got our top teams for the week. We got the New York Mets at 6-1. California Angels at 5-1. The Boston Red Sox at 5-2. Chicago Cubs at 5-2. And the Los Angeles Dodgers at 5-2. And the not top teams of the week, we got the San Diego Padres at 1-6. Cleveland Indians at 1-5. Houston Astros at 2-5. Seattle Mariners at 2-5. And the St. Louis Cardinals at 2-5. So there's your top and not so top teams of the week for Week 9, June 2nd through June 8th of 1986. So the AL standings as of the night of June 8th. And in the American League East, we got the Orioles. They are 2.5 games up over the Blue Jays with a 31-22 record. At the Kansas City Royals, they're up 2 games over the Twins with a 29-27 record. And out west, we got the Rangers still in first by a game with 37 wins and 19 losses. Starting to get heated in the west. Central starting to get a little lively. And the East is always unpredictable. So heading to the power rankings as of June 8th. American League. Overall, number one team is the Texas Rangers with a 37-19 record. And all the way down the bottom, we got the Seattle Mariners, the worst team in the American League, 19 wins and 38 losses. And everyone else just slowly kind of falls in between. Now heading over to the National League. In the East, the New York Mets are still in first place comfortably over the Expos by 6 games. In the Central, we got the Cincinnati Reds. They're up over the Cubs by a game and a half. That's starting to look a little interesting. And out west, we got the Dodgers, who kind of put away the Astros in their last series. They're 36-21. They're up by 4.5 games. So, the Centrals looks a little bit interesting. The Mets are starting to run away with it a little bit there in the East. And the Dodgers are slowly pulling away. So there's your standings for the National League as of Sunday, June 8th. So let's lead to the power rankings for the National League. Of course, the number one team in the National League is the New York Mets at 37-17. And all the way down the bottom, National League champions for 1985, St. Louis Cardinals, 18-37. The worst record in the National League and the worst record in Major League Baseball at 18 wins and 37 losses. Let's head over to some American League batting stats. And this is the offensive numbers for the American League. I have highlighted the leaders in each category. Overall, the Indians and the Texas Rangers are tied with most categories. Indians have a .296 batting average. Go through here, you can see a couple highlights here. We got the Mariners and the Tigers lead the American League with 82 team home runs. New York Yankees walk the most at 246. Red Sox strike out the least at 265 so far. And then for stolen bases right now, California Angels have 81 stolen bases in 100 attempts at 81%, which leads the league. And then we added a new category left to this stats here. I've been keeping track of the left on base the whole year, so I decided to add it in. So as of right now, the Baltimore Orioles leave the least amount of guys on base with 386. So that's the American League in a nutshell for the offensive side. Now on the pitching side of the American League, we got the California Angels and the Oakland Athletics with the most categories that they're ahead in. So we got the A's have played the most games along with the Mariners at 57. Rangers have the best record, most wins at 37, least amount of losses at 19. Angels have the most saves at 20. Mariners have the least amount of blown saves. They have none, considering they don't win that much. And then the Royals and the Angels have 13 holds apiece. Angels have the best ERA, 3.43. And they also give up 195 earned runs. And the Blue Jays walk the least amount of people with 138. And the Rangers have stricken out the most at 396. And the Tigers have 17 complete games. And then you could go look a little bit further. So that's just American League pitching. Now let's go head to the National League. Kind of repetitive here, but the New York Mets pretty much is dominating this category here. 276 batting average, 295 runs scored, 72 home runs. They walked the most too at 217. Expos strike out the least at 280. And we got the Cardinals have 131 team stolen bases at 173 attempts. 76%, but the Expos have the greatest success at 80%. And again, the Expos don't leave too many guys on base either at 360. So this is the offensive numbers for the National League. And then as for the pitching, New York Mets are pretty much the team here too. Most wins at 37, least amount of losses at 17. Most saves go to the Dodgers with 16. Dodgers have the most holds at 10. Mets have a 3.04 ERA, getting close to that below 3, which is astounding. They have 403 strikeouts as a team. Give out the least amount of hits, home runs, and runs. Definitely a tough pitching staff, 1 through 5. They could give trouble to pretty much any team they face, and they have up to this point. Now, guys, on the disabled list, as of June the 8th in the American League, some notable guys here is Lance Parrish. He's on the 3-game DL. Jim Presley, he's on the 10-game DL. They should be coming back pretty soon. Gorman Thomas, he got injured. He's out for 10 games. And Darnell Coles, he's out 7 games. He's starting to get hot, and he goes on the DL. And then for the National League, some names here. Claudell Washington, we all know him. He's Mr. Injury. 15-game DL still. And then we got Eric Davis. He got hurt his last game he played. So he's on a 7-game DL. He'll be back toward the end of next week. That's going to be a big loss and a big bat out of their lineup. Braves, same exact thing. Bob Horner, he takes their cleanup man away from them for 8 games. Ozzie Smith, that's a big blow at 10 games. He's their all-star shortstop. So they got to find someone to fill that gap. And then from last week, Pedro Guerrero. He's on the 15-game DL. And that's going to hurt, along with Chris Brown for the Giants. So there's your disabled list of players for both leagues, and how many games, and the projected time of return. Now to head to our weekly career milestone update. We got Don Sutton, who we're not really following anymore because he hit his 300th victory, but he's up to 302. Bert Blyleven, we're marching on to 3,000 strikeouts. He has 69 for the year so far. He is 56 away from getting to the 3,000 mark. Last 2 starts hasn't been too stellar with the strikeouts, so maybe he could rev that up a bit. Mike Schmidt, on his march to 500 home runs, he has 12 on the season. He is 30 away from that, considering he's only played 40 games and he's missed a total of probably 15 games up to this point. So that kind of hurt him a little bit. So hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the season. and get some swings in, and maybe he could get to that 500 mark. And finally, Steve Carlton. He's heading toward 4,000 strikeouts. He has 58 on the year. He is 22 away. So he's going to keep on marching towards that. So hopefully he can stay stellar. He's been steady pretty much all year. He's averaging roughly 5 to 7 strikeouts per game. So it's very possible that he might hit this mark by the All-Star break. So these are the guys that we're going to keep an eye out for. Again, Don Sutton already hit his 300 mark. We're just waiting for 3,000 for Burt Blyleven, 500 home runs for Mike Schmidt, and Steve Carlton to hit the 4,000 mark. And as discussed prior to the season, average-wise, we pretty much knew that Don Sutton was going to hit that 300 win sometime in the season. Burt Blyleven and Steve Carlton will hit the 3,000 and 4,000 mark sometime during this season. It was a long shot for Mike Schmidt to get to the 500 homer mark, considering he needed 42, and his best year was 41. So let's see what he could do and keep marching on. All right, which leads us to the American League stat leaders. As of June 8th, we got Wade Boggs with a .371 batting average. Dave Kingman has 17 home runs. Dave Kingman has 52 RBIs. And Gary Pettis has 55 stolen bases. So there's your leaders there in the American League for the batting. Right now, we got pretty much one name across the Triple Crown barriers. We got Wally Joyner, who's second in batting average with .366. He's tied for third with home runs at 15. And he's currently sitting at fifth with 44 RBIs. So rookie sensation, first baseman Wally Joyner. He's just having a good season. If he can stay healthy, hopefully he still does. But looking pretty good in the top 5 for the Triple Crown. As for the pitching side of the American League, ERA-wise, we got Moose Haas for the Oakland A's. He's at 1.66 ERA. But don't count out Dennis Rasmussen for the Yankees. He's at 1.67. Those two guys are having a pretty good year with sub-2 ERAs. And then we got for the wins, we got a 4-way tie for first with 9. We got Mike Witt, Tom Candiotti, Moose Haas, and Dennis Rasmussen. You know, with a low ERA causes victories, so Moose Haas and Dennis Rasmussen is there. Strikeout-wise, we got the Rocket, Roger Clemens. He is sitting at 99. And save-wise, we got Donnie Moore for the Angels, sitting at 20 saves. Pretty good season so far for these guys. So let's head over to the National League. National League-wise, we got Tony Gwynn with a .343 batting average. Pedro Guerrero with 16 home runs. He's tied for first with Steve Garvey. RBIs-wise, you got George Foster. He's having a good year with 45 RBIs. And Vince Coleman just running away with those stolen bases with 59. On the pitching side, we got ERA of Mike Scott at 1.24. Wins-wise, we got Sid Fernandez and Bob Welch at 9. Strikeout-wise, we got Mike Scott at 103. And save-wise, we had Ken Howell and Lee Smith both tied. Oh, and John Franco tied for 15. So pretty dominant so far. And again, it looks like George Foster, Triple Crown. He's fifth in average, 321. He's at second place for 15 home runs, and he leads the National League in RBIs with 45. And then Triple Crown for the pitching wise, we got Sid Fernandez as second at a 176 ERA. He's fourth he's tied for second with wins. That's 8. And he's in third place with strikeouts, 52. So keep an eye out for those guys too. So now to continue that we've been doing the last couple of weeks, we're continuing to look at certain divisions. Last video, we finished the National League by looking at the National League East. So now we're jumping over to the American League. So we're going to look at the American League West. And the American League West consists of the Texas Rangers, California Angels, Oakland Athletics, and the Seattle Mariners. So, a recap, sitting in on the West, we got the Texas Rangers with the best record in the American League at 37-19. California Angels are second, 36-20. They're a game behind. We got the Oakland Athletics at 30-27. They're 7.5 games behind. And the Seattle Mariners are 19-38, 18.5 games behind. So that's a look at their records and their current places. Texas and California are battling it out, with Oakland a distant third, but they're over 500 too. So let's go take a look. We're going to go in pretty much in alphabetical order. So we're going to take a look at the California Angels. This is their offensive numbers here. Just a couple tidbits here if you guys are new to this, just to have an idea. Any players that are in green, they are considered major league rookies for considering their eligibility and how they state what rookies are. So we got Wally Joyner at first base and Darryl Miller, outfielder. And then everyone else is pretty much in between. Coming into 86 is a little bit of an elder team. I believe the overall team age is probably the oldest in Major League Baseball in 1986. So I didn't highlight any of the categories here, but just a quick thing here. Batting average, Wally Joyner leads the team in hitting with 366. He has the most hits. He has the most RBIs with 44. He has the most home runs with 15. Gary Pettis has the most stolen bases with 55. Wally Joyner leads the team in doubles. So there you go. Their overall 249 batting average, which really isn't that great. If they had probably a little bit more pop in their bats, they probably would have one of the better records. Again, they're only one game behind the Rangers. I think they have like the second best or the third best team record. So if they hit the ball a little bit better, they'd probably be doing even a lot better. So let's go to their pitching, which has been rock solid. We got Mike Witt at 9-3. We got John Candelaria at 8-1. And we got Kurt McCaskill, 2.67 ERA, 85 strikeouts. Witt has 89 strikeouts. Candelaria has 92 strikeouts. So they have some good veteran leadership with Don Sutton there, being a 7-3. Pretty solid 5-2. They match up pretty well with the Mets wise, and their bullpen's pretty good too. Donnie Moore, even though he has 3 blown saves, is pretty solid. Gary Lucas is a good setup man. Terry Forrester is coming around. And with the call-ups of Chuck Finley and the signing of Vern Rule, maybe we could enhance their bullpen a little bit more. But that is the Angels. Now let's take a look at the Oakland Athletics. Here's a little bit more here. Again, Green is a rookie, so Jose Canseco's a rookie. All the way over at the right, you'll see a red G. That's the actual games they participated in for 86, so that's actual real. I added that to kind of keep pace of what I'm using them for, to kind of match up close to their cards. If you see anyone in purple, like Mark McGuire there, his call-up date was August 22nd. So anyone I have in purple haven't been called up or haven't been traded to the team yet. So that's why he's purple. And then any light blue that you see there, they have either been traded or they were released or or they got signed away. Ron Renicky, he actually was bought by the Philadelphia Phillies on May 9th. So that's why he's no longer with the team. And then Donnie Hill, Mickey Tettleton, and Stan Javier, I traded away to pick up some players. Alan Wiggins, Jamie Quirk, and Junior Ortiz. So that's what we're looking at there. Batting-wise, Fredo Griffin has been stellar, 336 average. He has the most hits on the team with 81. Dave Kingman has 52 RBIs and 17 home runs. He's been hot as of late. 243 batting average. He'd like to bring that up a little bit more. They have some fast guys on the team. They do have 45 steals as a team. You see Alfredo Griffin's 21, leads the team. But they like to get thrown out a lot too. 56% overall as a team. So it's 50-50 shot every time they take off. Like to kind of work on that, get a little bit better success rate. But they have, they have the good ratings, the A's and B's, but they just seem to get cut down. So I don't know if their first step is a little bit slow, but that is the Oakland A's batting at a glance. Their pitching staff, there's been a little bit of a mix mash a little bit here. Moose Haas has been unbelievable. 9-1 record or 1.66 ERA. Fifth man out of that rotation there, and he's been stellar. With the addition of Dave Stewart, trade they got Vida Blue over, so trying to enhance that pitching staff a little bit. Kurt Young and Jose Rio, they're holding steady. Eric Plunk, we put him in for a couple games. He kind of got beat up a lot. He likes to walk a lot of players. 15 walks in 2 games. It's kind of high, so we might have to put him in the pen. See what we can do with him to get that wildness out. But Moose Haas, most wins at 9, 1.66 ERA. Jay Howell, 12 saves. Bullpen closer, Jay Howell is pretty good. The relief pen is a little inconsistent. Trying to find someone to be a steady setup man is tough. But they can work on that relief pitching. We could maybe push to catch up to the Angels and the Rangers. Now we got the Seattle Mariners, the worst team in the American League. Again here, green is rookie. Blue is they get traded away or released or signed someplace else. If they are yellow, they're usually on the DL. So that's what we got here by Jim Presley, Phil Bradley, Corbin Thomas, and Domingo Ramos. Some top hitters there. They're on the DL for over a week. I don't know. I can't put my thumb on it with these guys. They do have a good core talent of players. They can definitely hit the long ball with 82 home runs. They don't seem to get on base a lot. So a lot of those home runs are usually mainly solo shots, which don't really help. They have some steady speed. Their defense is okay. Their outfield is a little sketchy sometimes with errors, along with their corner men. I don't know. They just seem to be they're kind of top heavy too. First 5 guys in their lineup could be pretty good. Hit speed, hitting for average, and hitting home runs and stuff. But once we get past that 5th batter, the back end of the lineup is very inconsistent. They like to strike out. They don't get on. They get out a lot. So we're not getting any productivity out of the bottom half of the lineup. So that doesn't help. So errors on their part and inconsistent hitting doesn't help the offensive side. And if you look on the pitching side, they can't get a break. Some of this stuff might be because of some errors. But overall, as you can see, the team is 6.31 ERA. Their starting 5 are a disaster. Even when they have good games, they give up 5 or 6 runs. Mike Morgan seems to be the 50-50 at 4 and 6. Mark Langston leads the team with strikeouts with 90. Their closer is stellar. The setup man's pretty good too. But outside of their setup man and closer, which you won't really see that much because Seattle's never really winning. So their relief pitchers are a train wreck too. So their pitching staff does not help. So their defense gives up runs with errors. Their pitchers give up runs no matter what. Their offense is inconsistent. They can't score any runs. They'll have a good game where they'll get 8, 9, or 10 runs, but then they'll give up 15, 16 runs. So it's a little concerning here, but with a couple of these starters here, hopefully Mike Moore, Mark Langston, and Mike Morgan can kind of steady the ship, slow down, and maybe they kind of turn around. I don't see them competing for a playoff spot, but if they could try to battle to at least 500. So that is the Mariners. And then the top team in the American League and the top team in the West are the young Texas Rangers. Like I was telling you before, California Angels are average team age, probably 35 or 36. The Rangers are one of the youngest, probably in that 24 to 26 range. So we got a young Texas Ranger team here. It's a little hungry. And they have a good mixture of some young talent along with some veteran leadership. And we got Scott Fletcher leading the team with, Gary Ward leading the team average with 323. Home run wise, we got a little mixture up here. We got Steve Shell at 11, O.B. McDowell with 10. RBIs, we got Pete O'Brien has 30. Gary Ward has 35. Middle of their lineup is consistent. They spread it out, the wealth, a little bit. Speed-wise, I don't have too many speedy guys. O.B. McDowell is probably the fastest guy in the team. He's got 25 stolen bases. Everyone else is kind of flat-footed. Most of the players are D's and E's as their rating. So speed is a downside for the Rangers. Thank God for the youth. But overall, 280 as a team batting, not too bad. Which comes to their pitching staff, their young Lion pitching staff. Their 5-man rotation is Jose Guzman, who's a rookie. Charlie Huff, who's that veteran presence there in that clubhouse. Ed Correa, rookie. Bobby Witt, senior, another rookie. And then Mike Mason and Tim Conroy are kind of battling back in that 5th starting position for starting pitchers. But as you can see, Guzman 6-4, Ed Correa 8-1, Bobby Witt 7-2, Old Man Charlie is 8-3. Those 4 guys there, they are holding their own. And take a look at their ERAs too. It's mid 3s and less. So they are not giving up that much runs. They are going late in games. Their setup and closer are pretty good. Mitch Williams and Jeff Russell came and going back and forth setup role. Greg Harris has been a good closer. Middle relief is a little sketchy. But they got enough that they go at least 7, the starters. So you don't see that. Sorry. There's a lot of fireballers there. Look at their strikeouts. Highs 55, 61, 73, 89. Only downfall for the Rangers here, and it hasn't seemed to hurt them so far, but if they continue this way, I think it's going to hurt them down the end, especially with these close games. The starting pitchers give up a lot of walks. You got 50 by Bobby Witt, 45 by Correa, 42 by Huff. Just taking a quick gander here, 11 games. You got 50 walks, so he walks close to 5 batters per game. He's almost 5. Huff is about 4. Again, I don't think it's hurt them, not yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. So it seems they they do throw a lot of pitches. A lot of strikeouts and a lot of walks, so that's a lot of pitches. So there's 7 pitches right there between walks and strikeouts, and that's without foul balls and anything else like that. But we'll see how the season plays out so far. Rangers have been looking good, and hopefully they continue and they can make it on into the playoffs. And then finally, we got the All-Star Game Ballot. You can start continuing the vote for the 1986 All-Star Game. In the description, I will have my email if you guys are just wanting to throw out some guys you want for the All-Star Game. Some votes I could tally in. I do have a survey, too, of players that are nominated by all the teams. Take a look at it. Pick your own guys who you want. Video last time, as a separate, as I did an All-Star ballot. So take a look at that for the guys you can see. And hit it up. Take the survey. Give me some ideas. So, sorry about my voice and everything. I've not been feeling that good, so I wanted to get this done. So, continue to follow. I appreciate everybody who's been following me and been leaving some comments and stuff. I think this is pretty cool up to this point. Never done the Strat-O-Matic before. I am currently playing at the advanced mode, So we're trying to get that down pat. So maybe towards the end of the year I could get into the super advanced, but it's I like it. It's a little time consuming considering I'm doing the full season for all the teams instead of doing like a one team season. So we're getting there. We are getting there, and again, I appreciate all the views and I appreciate everybody following along. Again, my email's there. Comments. Always make a comment. Send me an email. I'll answer. I see it. So I appreciate everybody. And everyone have a good day. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks for week 10 of 1986 Major League Baseball replay. So as always, guys, play ball.